Welcome to ST Drums TV. This is a special guide for replacement parts for the SONOR Designer series. In another video on our channel, we talk about the history of the Designer series as well as all the features on the drum set. This video that you are watching at the moment is a bit more technical and will give you all the information you need to restore your Designer drum set. Let's start with the hardware parts of the series. The floor tom and bass drum brackets were exclusive to the Designer series, so unfortunately they cannot be replaced by new parts. However, as they are so massive, usually they never break and you don't have to worry about them. The top part of the bass drum spurs sometimes gets lost and could get replaced by a knurled nut with plastic grips and a metric 10mm thread. Also, the rocket launcher cap could be replaced by a 40mm knurled plastic nut with M8 thread. You can find generic nuts with metric threads in any hardware store basically. The knurled rubber rings for the bass drum and floor tom brackets is available in our shop and has a diameter of 50mm. The knurled rubber rings on the tom mount and the rocket launcher is 40mm in diameter and is also available as a replica spare part from ST Drums. People only see the 40mm knurled ring in our shop and ask if we also have the flat one on the other side, but actually it's the same one. Just turn it inside out. If your floor tom brackets don't grab onto the legs tight enough because the plastic washer is used off, you can add one of these plastic rings from our shop. Or if the original plastic ring is missing completely, you can stack 2 or 3 on top of each other and replace the original thickness with them. On the bass drum spurs, there is this washer, and for the tom mounts, this washer is available. Let's talk about the lugs. If your tune-safe rubber breaks, like the ones in our longer video, it's not a big deal, because SONOR still offers these rubbers and we still sell them in our shop. Please note that once you installed these new rubbers, you might have a problem to get the tension rods through them, because the rubber is a bit too narrow by design. You will have to apply pressure on the tension rod in order to drill a thread into the rubbers. If you lose a lug completely, SQ2 lugs can be placed on the Designer drums. However, you will need to note that the SQ2 doesn't have the square tip for the tune-safe rubbers. The SQ2's tune-safe rubbers are actually integrated into the lug itself and cannot be replaced. Also, the holes in the Designer shells are bigger because their gaskets reach into the shell like a plug. Because of that, we released an adapter rubber plug that can be put on SQ2 lugs in order to fit the Designer's shell holes. By the way, this only applies to the single, not the double-ended version of the Designer lugs. The double-ended long version of the lugs cannot be replaced by a new part. If you're looking to just get your APS rubbers replaced on a long lugs, we do offer this set, which includes 2 SQ2 rubbers and 2 of our adapters. Also note that the SQ2, made in 2012 or later, have a 1224 or 732 thread. The Designer series used the classic SONOR 1/4 inch thread. So if you replace the lug, you will also have to get a new tension rod for this lug. Even if the lugs and tension rods with this thread might not be visible in our webshop because we don't keep them in stock all the time, don't resist to write an email to us, because we can basically order any new spare part from SONOR's catalog and get them mostly within a few days if they're in stock at SONOR's. If you're not completely sure about the part number of the part that you're looking for of any SONOR series, just send us a few pictures of your drum set and also of the part that you're looking for. Usually we have a way to figure out what part it is and if they're still available as a new part or not. So also take care if you want to replace the bass drum tension rods on your Designer kit. The SQ2 spare part that is still available might look similar, but the thread is actually different and it won't fit your Designer set. So for bass drum tension rods for a Designer set in chrome color, you will have to search the used market. Now back to the Designers. On the bass drum tension rods, as well as the acoustic gates, you have this 28mm rubber ring that is still used on the SQ2 and therefore available as an original SONOR spare part. Other than the rest of the lugs, the bass drum lugs don't have a tune-safe rubber directly connected to their tip. However, they have a square rubber piece under the head of the tension rod for that. It adds friction and locks in place inside the square place in the bass drum claw. We released a replica of these rubbers that can be found in our store. To replace them, just get rid of the old ones and screw the new ones back on. If you lose the knurled screw on the acoustic gate, SONOR sells these screws as well as a spring, the small rubber bellow, the plastic washer and the triple rubber piece as a set. If you just want to replace the washers, the bellow or the triple rubber piece, these are available separately as well. Be careful though, because the triple rubber piece of the SQ2 is not a perfect match for all Designers. The earliest Designer models actually didn't have this rubber piece. They just have a thread directly cut into the metal bar. Later ones used the rubber, but the center wasn't as raised as the new one. If you want to replace them with the new SQ2 part, you might need to remove the center bit that is raised up with a knife. Also, this part is extremely hard to install. We recommend to disassemble the whole rim and push the rubber in there with a vise. The later models of the Designer series have actually the same hole set as the SQ2 and it should go in there a little bit easier if you have one of these models. Another part that is an exclusive replica made by ST Drums is the rubber bellows. Just remove the rubber foot from the metal tube, slide the old bellow off, and add the new bellows on there. By the way, in the long designer video, we mentioned that the designers with golden hardware are extremely rare. We did manage to buy some unused parts from SONOR's spare parts department a few years back, and some of these are still in our stock. So we do have some golden long lugs and also bass drum tension rods from the designer series, but I think the golden designers are so rare that no customer will ever ask for these replacement parts. So this was our quick guide on the designer series and the spare parts that are still available at stdrums.com. Like already mentioned, there is a very long video on the designer series. Please check that out and give us a like, as well as a subscription if you like our content. So see you in the next video.